So we in round three. It's been 3 rounds in the 2025 NFL draft. Shedeur Sanders has yet to be drafted. Nobody saw this coming. Before the draft came, I did suspect, and I never put this on camera and said this publicly, but I said it behind the scenes. I did the Jay-Z line, off the Blueprint album where he said, show you how to move in a room full of vultures. Made me think about how both Shedeur and Dion, their intentions are, I think, in the right place about being confident and being young, black, and rich. But nobody's never bigger than the program. Um, I don't even think this is necessarily a race thing. Uh, well, I think it's a little bit of racism involved, but I just don't think it's overall the main reason why Shedeur didn't get drafted. Uh, as big as the NFL is, as much legacy and owners, Shedeur confidence was just something that's never been displayed on the level that it was coming from an HBCU and making, having ratings that's outdoing, professional sports teams, then transitioning into, a big school in Colorado and doing the same thing. Then skipping the combine or whatever, and in the press conference where he had the hat on backwards, he had like some bold statements where he was saying like uh he would, everywhere he go he turned things around. And I believe the baggage, and when I say baggage, I don't mean trouble, because Shedeur obviously hasn't caused any off the field trouble or in game trouble, causing brawls or nothing like that. But the baggage of whatever team drafts Shedeur, they feel like they're gonna have to deal with Dion. And there was already rumors speculating that Dion and Shedeur and Shiloh and are gonna end up in Dallas. And if Shedeur ends up in Dallas, then Dion gonna stop coaching in Colorado. He's gonna go to Dallas and he gonna put Shiloh there. So when you think about things like that, the head coaches are thinking about, well, if I draft Shedeur, essentially Shedeur's gonna have 3 head coaches. He's gonna have the head coach of the franchise. He's gonna have his dad, and then also, well, we were under the impression him and Tom Brady were so close, but I don't even know if that's the same, because Tom Brady's with the Raiders and they didn't draft him. But with him being his mentor, he's gonna communicate with Tom Brady. So those are a lot of people that you have to deal with, and I just think that might have played a big factor into him not being drafted thus far, because he should have been the second drafted quarterback after Cam, and you could argue he could have been drafted before Cam. But I think this all boils down to nobody's bigger than the program, and I also believe that baggage played a huge role in dealing with Shedeur's family members, because his brother, they have their own. You might as well say they have their own production team of video where they do a lot of recording, and maybe that was discussed in some of the interviews, and it just hasn't got out yet. Maybe they was like, listen, if we draft you, we're not gonna be dealing with all that extra, something, with the cameras and your father. I doubt it was probably said. It might have got out already if that was something that was brought up, but you never know. Maybe that was something that was brought up in Shedeur. Like, if you draft me, you drafting uh Bucky, and you drafting, my father. Because my father been with me since day one. These are all hypotheticals, by the way. Don't take this as factual. But that makes you wonder, because it's like, how did all these other quarterbacks that was never mentioned, all of a sudden, Shedeur was projected at worst like top 16 player in the nation. And before, even before that, he was projected as top 2 quarterback. And he's not even drafted in the first. I can understand the first round, maybe. But I definitely thought he was good to go in the second. And now the third round is passed and he hasn't been drafted. Okay, now something just really like is in the water at this point, because none of this adds up. Everybody is having various opinions, and when I say everybody, we're talking NFL players, NFL coaches, NFL analysts. Um, everybody in the mix is saying different things. Mel Kiper was extremely heated. You would have thought he was Shedeur dad. He wasn't even talking about players that actually made it in the draft due to his frustration with Shedeur not being drafted yet. This is a very controversial draft, and that's something I did predict. I knew this would be one of the biggest drafts since like when LeBron James was drafted to the NBA. In regards to publicity and history, because certain franchises have set themselves back for decades due to this draft. I mean, it happens all the time where people mess up a window to win a potential championship or just increase the value of their team with wins and losses. But not drafting Shedeur and putting whoever else is in the mix, man, this is gonna put more pressure on them. I mean, I'm starting to wonder now, will Shedeur even get drafted? Like, will he go undrafted? Because surely every team that thought they needed a quarterback has, taken care of business. And unless someone get injured, which more than likely is gonna happen, injuries happen. Um, you wonder, like, is it possible he's gonna go undrafted? And whatever team does draft him, if they draft him, um, it just make you scratch your head, like, why you wait so long? I thought potentially, in the beginning, I was like, well, I always thought the Saints or the Steelers would be the best fit. I didn't think he needed to go to the Giants for a lot of reasons, especially once they drafted. I mean, not drafted, but once they signed Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. But I thought the Cardinals would be a good fit also because Kyler Murray, he's like a cockroach behind the center. He can't see and he just be running forever. So it's a good bit of weapons over there in Arizona. The tight end is a Pro Bowler, Marvin Harrison Jr. He's going to be potential Pro Bowl Hall of Fame talent, and James Conner running back. Seahawks, you can't trust Sam Donald over there. And even at the Raiders, Geno Smith, I mean, I don't think he's the answer neither. I think he's solid, but he's not consistently a starting quarterback. Sometimes he looks like a Pro Bowler, and another week he looked like he shouldn't be in the league. So I thought he could have went over there, and I'm just confused as to why Tom Brady did not allow the Raiders to draft him in the first 3 rounds. It's like, bro, that's your. Not only are you his mentee, he's literally signed to the TB12 brand. What's going on? This is very, very shocking and confusing. Like, all of this makes no sense whatsoever. And you just really wonder, like, what really happened behind the scenes. And the last thing I will say, the most disgusting part about this was Shedeur got prank called from a phone that he only gave the number to the GMs and coaches. And somebody trolled him from the Saints, acting like they were about to draft him and say, you're going to have to wait a long time. This is some serious, serious hate. And I think before it's all said and done, a lot of things is going to come out. And it may not even be good for Shedeur to get drafted because he's going to become a distraction with the franchise having to answer nonstop questions about the draft. And eventually, when they find out what was behind him not getting drafted, it's going to become a distraction to that franchise because people are going to ask questions. And Dion's always going to get involved, especially with him coaching in Colorado. So drop a comment, man. Do you think Shedeur gets drafted in round 4 or will he go undrafted in the NFL draft, man? If you made this far in the video, I want to say thank you for watching. Please give me a thumbs up, give me a like, subscribe to the God Level Genius YouTube channel. I am James Vergado, and as always, be God Level. The genius is in you. God Level Genius.